So I'm gonna spend 2 hours today here. I've managed to make it work. I had to change the folders. I don't remember exactly where I stopped, but I think was I had these folders here on the templates, and then I wanted to move them to PyVis, and I had some problems with the settings, if I remember correctly. And with this setup.py here, with the import stuff. And I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on this, so I just changed to this folder here. And then I had to change the path to this. And I also changed the path on the network folder. So that when it renders the template, it goes directly, writes this path here directly. And this goes, each 2 dots goes one folder up. So from here, oh, it's because the file that is saved here, the CSS and JavaScript stay on this folder, but the final file is saved on this one, which is basically the name of the, it's graphs, then the name of the script, then the files, the visualizations for the specific script. So it's one folder up, then 2 folders up, 3 folders up to reach the root directory of the project, then it goes into the file where the things are. And now I'm gonna see, I don't know exactly how to do it, but because I don't have experience with Flask, but I'm gonna see how to create the homepage for the thing. And based on videos I saw, this should be the structure of the thing. Which is you leave the functionality, the routes of the website in the zap.py file. And then you leave the templates, which are the HTML pages on the templates folder, and the CSS and JavaScript on the static folder for each template. Just selecting the interpreter for the project because I haven't opened this one with PyCharm. It was taking a long time to load the website using VS Code Live Server. I'm not really sure why. I think it's probably because they use a WebSocket as the connection and PyCharm uses a different connection. But I'm not sure if that's a problem with the way that I'm building the site. Because if it takes a long time to load, then that would be a problem. But with PyCharm, it loads really fast. So I think I'm gonna work with PyCharm, even though it doesn't support HTML files. And then this is from a video I saw where he talked about whenever you should do a base HTML and then extend that base HTML to do the other ones. And that's how you write it. So I think this first portion is going to be the head and this second portion is going to be the body. I think I'm going to do 2 divs for this. Oh, actually I need to build. Never mind about that. I'm gonna do, let's see if I can do it like this. No. So I'm gonna do one main div, and then inside of this div, I'm gonna do 2 other divs. And they're gonna contain the options. Or maybe I should do the 2 options inside of the same div. And then I can do 2 inputs instead. Yeah, I think that's better. Maybe it's button is better, button, not input. Because input is true right and button is true click, I guess. Oh, and here I have to create a different folder. Well, actually, I can do it with these ones. Oh no, I need a different one because first I'm gonna create the first page, which is gonna be the entry page, and it's gonna have the options. So maybe I do wanna create two divs actually, because in one div I wanna put something that explains what it is. I choose option for visualization, and then on the other is gonna contain the buttons. I can just change it if I don't like it. So this is gonna be class main div. This class equals second, no, uh, options. And then it's gonna have two buttons. I don't remember really well HTML. I'm gonna have to look it up, a bunch of things. But here I'm gonna put script, visualizer. And also, the other thing that I'm not really sure about when I was thinking about this is whether or not I can use React or Node.js or these technologies to build this page, since I'm already using Flask. I'm not sure how the integration between them works or if it is even something that is not is recommended to do or not. And then I should probably put a class on this too as well. Or maybe it's actually links and not buttons, now that I think about it. Because, yeah, I'm gonna have to attach functions to this. And I'm gonna put onClick equals handleClick probably. But I'm not sure if that works. Oh, maybe actually I'm gonna do the function on JavaScript directly, because I can get the element by using query selector, and then I can put the event listener on there. But I'm not sure if that's the best way to do it, because then, yeah, what I need to do is figure out how to connect this button to another HTML on the Flask page, that page. The other thing that I'm not sure about is this SQL alchemy stuff. If I'm gonna use that or if I do everything using the pandas data frame first. Because eventually I'm gonna have to rewrite everything if I use SQL alchemy. But I think it might be the best because the visualization stuff I did was using data frames. Yeah, I think I'm gonna comment this out for now, and I'm gonna do everything because it's easier. I'm gonna do everything with the data frames until I have everything going. Then once I manage to do that, then I can think about changing from data frames to SQL Alchemy. So the root that I put here is gonna have methods post and get. No, how can I search for this? Return render template. Let me open the window a little bit. I don't like leaving the window open because too, how can I say this? Too much open because of the reflection on the screen. So I'm definitely gonna have to search this. What I'm confused about now is whether or not I should put the functionality of the button here. I definitely need to put it on the page itself, I think. Because the way that I'm used to doing is by using JavaScript and selecting the element by class and then attaching an event listener to it. Well, let me create a different folder here. Home. It's gonna be the home page. And then in home, create file, home.css. New file, home.js. So I think I can search for how to connect through templates in Flask through HTML. And I think it's possible as well to write the HTML just using HTML and not using anything from Flask, and it's gonna render anyway, if I understand correctly. Hmm. So I can use macro. So maybe I can use this get template attribute, then the template name and the. But I don't understand what this is, if it's a variable or not. Those are macro or variable templates exports. This can be used to evoke a macro from within Python code. If you, for example, have a template name, consider HTML, the following contents. Maybe I can use that instead of putting button. And then I can just put a name here, and in this return function, I return another template. But I'm not sure if I can do that. I think today or probably tomorrow I'm gonna change the memory in my computer and uh, reinstall Windows. And then I think in about 1 or 2 weeks that I'm gonna focus more on this. and I have more time to focus on this. I'm also doing something from this guy called Said. I forgot his surname, but it's a course for Python, and he's gonna help me build a resume for finding jobs, which is something that I'm focused on as well. So maybe if I learn anything from the course, because it's a whole course, and then at the end of the course, I'm gonna have another call with him, and he's gonna tell me if my resume looks good or not. And I think if I learn stuff from the course where of things I can do, I might change from doing this into doing the other things. He said that deep learning is probably the most promising thing in data analysis for the future. And I think he's correct. He makes a lot of sense. And he apparently he's a smart guy. So just looking at the his resume and his, I don't know exactly how to describe that, but yeah, he looks like he has experience working in the field. And I think it might be a good idea to just follow what he says, since he knows what he's talking about, and work on deep learning and focus only on deep learning and create a project based on that. But I also want to learn Ethereum blockchain. So I think right after I'm finished with this, I'm probably going to do that. And I'm going to forget about doing the extra functionality on the visualization stuff because it's counterproductive. The only concern I have with focusing on deep learning stuff is that it might take me a long time to build something useful. And the idea I had on my mind once I started doing this is make a bunch of websites. I wanted to have at least 10 or something like that. So I'm able to show stuff that I'm capable of doing. But yeah, his perspective, I should just focus on one project and something that involves deep learning and is based on what company or what place I'm trying to get a job at. But I think at the same time, learning about Ethereum is probably better because my goal is not necessarily to get a job, my goal is to make money. And ideally, I don't want to get a job. I want to make money by myself, doing either freelancing work or building my own thing. So I think I'm stuck between these paths now. And I'm not really sure what to do, but I think I'm gonna end up doing probably both at the same time and try to think about a project that involves both Ethereum and blockchain and deep learning. But if it's too difficult or I can think about anything that I'll be able to do in, let's say, 3 months or something like that, then I'm probably gonna focus more on Ethereum, I think, and blockchain. And I'm kind of losing the motivation to finish this because the more time I spend on it, the more I realize that it's probably better to spend some more my time. It's gonna be more effective to spend my time focusing on blockchain because it is gonna grow a lot in the future. At least that's what I believe. And the compounding effect of learning that's gonna be way higher. So I should probably be working on a project that involves blockchain and all this stuff. And the potential to make money on my own is also higher as well, I think, because I can develop something. Since it's a new space, there's a lot of possibilities. But then at the same time, I don't want to leave this unfinished. I think I'm gonna search directly for what I want. And another thing that I remember is that I did this course on Build Space, this company. They have a Discord, and it was really good, but it wasn't my thing at the time. I wanted to get to know how everything works, but I wasn't ready to dive deep into it. So I left that to the side. But now that I'm thinking about going back to it, I think I might just spend a lot of time on that Discord and also do the projects again if they have any projects coming up. I think they have every 3 months or something like that, a new project or something else to do. So I might do that. I think that's gonna be an interesting uh, way to get started. So looks like this person has the same problem I have. My mic keeps uh, doing some random noises. I'm not sure if it's. I'll have to look at this later, probably. Whatever. Oh, so he does it differently here. Maybe if I search for how to render a template from a button. And I guess I can do the other stuff already, which is gonna be app.routes, this script realizer. I think that's just maybe get the methods. Now it's gonna be interesting. No, this is not the page that I'm gonna do the script visualization stuff. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to think about how I'm gonna connect the final HTML page that is created. And for this script visualization, I think I'm gonna leave just the ones that I have on the folder. For the folder tree, I need to create on the next page. I'm gonna create an input or a button or something like that, and that button is gonna ask for a folder, and then once you select the folder, then yeah, but then how is it gonna read the folder? I'm not sure if because if I'm leaving the site for someone else to see and they put the folder, I'm not sure if the result I'm gonna get back is all the contents of the folder. I think that should be the case, probably. So once you select that and attach to a variable, no, then I'm gonna have to run the script with that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass that information of the folder that was selected to the script and run the script, and then I'm gonna have to see how I'm gonna render that. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself here. So what's gonna be the name of the template? So I'm gonna have script this, folder this. And I think I'm gonna search this. I'm gonna search by how to render an HTML page out of a button using Flask. I should put home HTML. It's crazy to me that there is 195,000 files on this project. And I guess it's because of the other project that I downloaded from Free Code Camp, the dev docs page with the documentation for all the languages. I guess that's where most of the files come from. After I do all of this, I still have to work on the folder tree visualization stuff as well, because I remember it wasn't fully correct yet. It was a very good approximation that I got to, but there was still some minor things that I could change to make it better that I didn't do. But I think those parts I'm not really sure if I'm gonna do or not because of the stuff that I was talking about previously. Oh damn, this might take a long time. If it does, I'm gonna cancel and change it later. I think what I'm gonna do is just do the simple pages and the structure of the website and make sure everything works. And then I'm just gonna stop this because I think it's a waste of time. And I'm gonna start, not a waste of time, I think it's a cool project, but the other stuff is more important probably. The blockchain, Ethereum, Web 3.0, and focusing on deep learning. And I also need to forget about trying to learn a bunch of things. Some things that are necessary, like uh, JavaScript, and I forgot the name, React. Yeah, React. And maybe Redux. But I want to focus on the minimum stuff that I can and become really good at it. I'm gonna put this if name equals May. I think I'm gonna cancel this. I'll change that later. Oh, it's already here. App.rom debug. Oh, so it uses a equals href URL for. So that's probably what I should be doing instead. It might be even easier than what I was thinking about. So instead of putting this like this, I can do it like this. Then href. And here I can. So script visualization is gonna be, did I create here? So now I'm not sure. It should be the name of the template, I think, which is script vis dot html. Then I should do the same thing that I did here, but for I'm also not really sure how websites like YouTube do it, where they don't have a folder structure in this path here. They have different things. So that's another thing that I should probably look at. But it might be, it just changes when you are using a server automatically. So let me read this. Well, first let me change the names there and then I'll read. But I think it's probably URL for script vis and URL for folder vis. Hopefully then this will make two buttons that when you click is gonna load the other pages on this route here. Let me see if I can run this. How do I run? Maybe I just run directly through here. I remember I have to do something on the terminal. I think it's Flask run or something like that. New function mapping is overriding an existing endpoint function, vis. Oh, have to change the name. So vis, maybe I should just leave his script. Everything with the same name, just so I don't get confused. Yeah, so when you're gonna do in deployment in production, like it says here, just take the debug equals true. Now I'm not really sure. Maybe oh, if I open localhost 5000, maybe that will work. Yeah, there we go. Nice. And if it, nice. Okay. So obviously it looks like trash, but it doesn't matter. And I think I can do button instead of links actually, because I don't want this format. And obviously I'm gonna. So this was a lot easier than I thought actually, which is great. I'm gonna style it later, of course, on CSS, so it's gonna look a lot better. I'm also gonna see how to do animations. Yeah, so apparently I can't use href for buttons. I'll be right back. So I'm not sure why it stopped working here. Oh, it's I stopped the thing. So I can leave it as an A link and then style it differently, but I want to see if I can do it using a button instead. It's probably possible. At this point, we have two HTML pages and a Python script that renders those HTML pages to two different URLs, the home and the about URL. Now we need to add a menu so that the user can easily navigate through the web pages by just clicking their links. After we have done that, the two pages will look like this. If you look carefully, you'll notice that the two web pages above share a common area which consists of the header, artist web app, and the navigation menu. To create that area in each page, we could add the HTML code that generates such a header to each of our HTML files. However, a smarter thing to do would be to create a parent HTML template, which our two child templates could inherit the code from. Then we could simply link to that parent layout from each HTML page to inherit its code. Let's see how this is done. You need to create a new HTML page and call it something like layout.html. So it has a container, a logo, nav, the links. Let's quickly see how this looks like by double clicking over the layout.html file. You should see this page. We're now thinking you have to render the layout.html page in our Python function. You're wrong. We keep the Python code as it is and modify the home.html, about.html, and the layout.html files. The idea is to link about.html and home.html to layout.html. This would be done by adding a few lines of code in those files, as you see below. Let's start with layout.html. So block, content, and block. As you see from the highlighted lines, we added a new div section to the layout.html file. The two lines with curly brackets will be replaced on demand by either the home.html or about.html code, depending on which URL the user is browsing. So these lines here are some. For that to happen, you also need to edit those two pages so they connect to the layout.html page. Here's how the updated code looks like for home.html. And this is what's gonna go under these two blocks there. Let me see if I did this correctly. Yeah, the first block doesn't have anything because it's this one. Maybe you should put a title or something like that. In here. Not on the base, but on the other ones. Where is the template? Did I put it here? Oh, I put it here as well. The HTML file for the viz stuff. I think it's better this way actually, because it just separates each thing on its own place. But here I think I'm gonna put title. It's gonna be home. And that's what I'm gonna do in the top one. And then for each one, obviously, I'm gonna put the name of the thing. Okay, the same goes for about.html. And here is how the directory tree should look like. So templates. Your website should now look as in the following screenshot, and you should be able to load the web pages by clicking on the corresponding menu items. Great, we have functional website, but we're missing the Flash. So next is gonna be CSS, which I think I'm gonna skip through. Yeah, I think this deployment stuff I'm gonna do later on because I'm making money now to pay for web server hosting. And that's the reason why I don't have enough time now to just focus on this. I'm gonna make enough money to pay for the stuff that I need. An interesting idea would be as well to look at on string on a bunch of free on a not free what's the name of that thing that yeah, freelancing. Bunch of freelancing websites to see what people were asking for. And I did this on my own, but I didn't spend a bunch of time doing that. And then maybe try to find projects there and work backwards. I think that's a good idea actually. Once I start learning Ethereum and blockchain, I'm gonna search for freelancing jobs and then I'm gonna try to build them on my own. That's probably a good idea as well. So I'm not gonna spend time. Oh, there's this next lecture. Yeah, so the rest is not important. So how to render HTML template based button. So it needs to be a post method, because it's sending information. And where is this request coming from? Oh, here. On Flask import Flask render template requests. Yeah, so the first page is this index page. So it should be here. So I think that's probably the way to do it. It's probably better than what I'm doing there. So I assume that here is the place where I would render the other templates. So don't know if this is necessary or not. So I think I'm gonna copy this stuff here on here. And then also I need to change the inputs there. So here it would be inputs, inputs, type submit, name, submit button. No, I don't know if I need a name. Probably just a value. Because I'd rather put a class instead of a name, but maybe I'll do both. The last case that I can just do the other way with the href instead, which is super easy. And then the value. I don't like putting underlines on everything. Makes the thing way too long. It will just load folder. And maybe because I'm gonna use load script or load folder on the other pages for to do other stuff, and then don't wanna get confused. So maybe I should just put script page and folder page. And then I can copy this here. I can copy this here. And then here I would do return render templates script is not HTML. I'll probably then change whatever function I put here. Yeah, but that's the problem. Oh, actually, it's better to call the function, I guess. I can just call, maybe not even return. Because that way I keep this the other method here. Because I'm not sure if I just render is gonna be the same, it's probably not. Because it probably requires the function and the route. Because otherwise it's just, yeah. I don't know actually what will happen. But I assume probably load the thing on the same page. in the same URL. So I think that's it. And here he did it slightly different using request.method. So let's see if this works. Hmm. So it's not working. Oh, maybe it wasn't running. No, it's probably working. There we go. Huh. So I can do it on the page itself. But now it's not doing anything when I click. Maybe if I put return this. Return. I don't know what this means here. So the button is showing whatever is in here. I think, yeah. So the way that it's written here, it seems like this is on the same page as the app.py script. Maybe I need to add this form equals form as well. I don't think it's gonna change anything. Yeah, it's probably not what's wrong. I'm gonna look on other websites. So the thing is, I'm not sure because there are many different ways to do this. I'm not sure which ones is the best for when you're working with Flask. Maybe we can use this on click and then I run the function. I don't know if it's true or one. But then, cause how would it know that it's on app.py? That's probably not the best way to do this. So here he's using return render template as well. The only difference from here is that he's creating this farm with weak farm. I also need to add the script and CSS to the page, to the HTML. Yeah, not exactly what I'm looking for.
Woman, I wanna ask you, why'd you do that anyway? You know, I thought things were fine just yesterday. Woman, you've gotta tell me, what's going through your head? You know, I can't spend one more night, baby, sleeping in this lonely bed. gotta tell me what going through your head. No, I can't spend one more night. Ooh, sleeping in this lonely bed.
Most confusing part is mixing these technologies and knowing when to mix them or not. I'm not sure if technology is the right word, but these languages. Because it's not really clear how things should be done when using some of these backend things. Maybe if I just change something here. Oh, let's use render template and see what happens. Render template. This one. I don't think I tried that actually. Now that I think about it.
Tell me, baby, what's it gonna be?
So the logic here should be
You gotta
correct.
come back home, child.
Or maybe the name
Lord,
is off.
stay with me.
Maybe that's the problem.
Oh, have I got to
Now I forgot. Where did I get that from?
get myself another woman instead?
Oh, this should be interesting as well.
You know I can't spend one more night.
I think it was this. Yeah. Yeah, so the name is submit button. And on mine it wasn't submit. Maybe I should just use submit button as well.
Ooh, sleeping in this lonely bed.
It's still not working. Maybe it is working, but yeah, no, it's probably not because the HTML would have to change. But even if this works, it's not gonna route the thing. That's the problem. Yeah, the link is way easier actually.
It's It's a pity. Low down and dirty shame. Lord, it's a pity. Low down and dirty shame. Tell me, how can a poor man make it? I said, when money is the name of the game.
Maybe I can use this get method,
I used to have the
or
best
put the entire
friend
function here.
every place in town. I signed my name, no money down. Things done got tough, y'all, and old Buster needs some. Now my name won't even buy me a piece of bubble gum. It's a pity. Low down and dirty shame. Tell me, how can a poor man make it? I said, when money is the name of the game. Look out, Lee. So bad, baby, yeah.
And let me link the files before I forget. Oh, actually, now I don't know how I should do that. Oh, so here, because I'm extending this from the base HTML, the code here is gonna be the same,
Taco Bell's $5 Cholula
even though it's
cravings
not,
box. Your beef or veggie faves in a box.
even though it's not explicit here. So this is linking the style sheets with URL for static, file name CSS, main CSS. Yeah, but if I'm gonna do this way, then I should put all of them in the same folder. So maybe I shouldn't put this. Oh, actually, I can put it inside of this block here. And then I just erase this from here.
Sitting here thinking of a good time.
It's probably better.
I know has passed. They ain't only right as should meet.
Because on each one, I rather have different folders. And even if I do it on the same folder, then I still would have to do this because I would have to specify which file it is. Unless I'm missing something. I think here I can use D4. And that makes the script load at the end of the page. The source equals draw for static file name. And then I'm gonna change the name of this. So this is gonna be the home. So static. Here's gonna be home. Then home.css. This is home. .js. Yeah, now they should be linked properly, I think. And maybe the link is just easier, and then I can style it like a button. I just want to see if I can do it the other way as well, just to see how it works.
Dragging around a ball and chain.
Because it's good as well to learn to kind of integrate in my mind how things work on Jinja.
A ball and chain.
I think this page is probably should be the easiest one to build. The next two is probably gonna be a lot harder because I'm gonna have to integrate the functionality of the page with the other scripts, which is gonna be really hard.
Time can be a second, can be a minute, an hour, or even a day. Time can be a second, minute, hour, or even a day. Angel says it's 7:15. I'll catch the next elevator to heaven.
Maybe in the official documentation there's something about it.
Eu não sou caçador de recompensas.
Oh damn, another ad. You should install an ad block for this. This signal is sent before template rendering process. The signal is invoked with the instance of template as template and the context as dictionary, named context. just installing. So that's not what I want. The signal is sent when the request context is set up before any request processing happens. Because the request context is already bound, the subscriber can access the request with the standard global proxies such as request. Alternative way to use view functions as subclasses has to implement dispatch request, which is called with the view arguments from the URL routing system. If methods is provided, the methods do not have to be passed to the addURL rule method explicitly. Still feel like I don't understand really well. So let me see here. I think it's better to look directly for what I want. Here doesn't look like it has anything like it. Aside from template rendering.
I haven't seen any rain. I am dragging around a ball and chain. Yes, I am. I haven't seen any rain. Dragging round a ball and chain. Yes, I am. Angel says it's 7:30. Time to catch the next elevator to heaven. Heaven.
Think I will look for a video. Doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to. It's good to read the documentation, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to get what I want there. I also don't think there are gonna be a lot of videos about it. The videos are probably gonna explain the basics only. Running a script is not exactly what I want to do on the first page. It is what I'm gonna do on the second page. But yeah, it doesn't look there are a lot of videos about it. I think I have to close this now.
To give you a finished
There we go.
product that you can tweak and turn into whatever website you'd like. So I want to show you all of the fundamental and important things you need to know about web development with the module that we're going to use. So that way you can kind of take this starter or template website and turn it into whatever you want. So specifically, we're going to cover how you sign up users, so how you create new users account, how you store those in a database, how you log into those user accounts, how you log out of them, and then how you associate information with a specific user. So the example application that we're going to build here is just a very simple next. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create our first website root, or our first website root. So we're going to go to this views.py file, and inside of this file, what we're going to do is we're going to store the kind of standard routes for our website, so where users can actually go to. So say the login page, say the home page, all of that kind of stuff. Actually, the login page story is going to go in auth because that's related to authentication, but anything that's not related to authentication that the user can navigate to, we're going to put it in this file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by importing Flask. So I'm going to say from Flask, import, and then blueprint like that. And then I'm going to import one more thing as well. Actually, we'll import it later. I don't need it right now. So we're going to say from Flask import blueprint. Now, what we're going to do in here is we're going to define that this file is a blueprint of our application, which simply means it has a bunch of roots inside of it. It has a bunch of URLs defined here. That's literally all that a blueprint means. Variable. Again, you don't have to call it this, but it's much easier just to call it the same thing. So URL to get to this this endpoint here. So inside here, we're going to do something really basic. We're just going to return some HTML. So we're going to return the h1 tag. We're going to say test and then /h1. What this will do is just return test as an h1 tag. It will render this on the website when we go to the /root. So it's as simple as it is. Of course, it will get more complicated. This is how you make your first root. So now we have these blueprints defined. But what we need to do is register these blueprints in our init.py. So from our app now, we need to tell Flask that, hey, we have some blueprints that are containing some different views for our application or some different URLs for our application. Here's where they are. So we're going to start by importing these files. So we're going to say from.views, import, and then we're going to import the name of the blueprint, which is views. So if I go to views, you can see this is what we're importing, this variable right here. Okay, so let's go back. Now we'll do the same thing from auth. So we'll say from.auth, import auth. All right, so we've got our blueprints imported. Now what we're going to do is register them with our Flask application. So we're going to say app.register blueprint, and then we're going to put the blueprints like that. And we're going to say URL prefix is equal to, we're just going to leave this at /. So let me copy this, and I'll do the same thing with auth. And there we go, we registered our blueprints. Now the URL prefix is saying all of the URLs that are stored inside of these blueprints file, how do I access them? Do I have to go to a prefix specifically? So I'll just show you with an example because this is the easiest to explain it. If I put /auth and then say / here, or auth / doesn't really matter, then what would happen is I would have to go to auth and then / and then whatever the name of my views inside of here were. So if I define auth.view like that, and, or sorry, not view, auth.route like that, and then I put inside of here, let's say hello. If I want to access this route, since I defined the URL prefix as auth, I would have to go to /auth/hello. So anything inside of here will be prefixed now by whatever I define as the URL prefix. So I don't want anything for the prefix, so I just leave it as /, which means no prefix. Anyways, hopefully we got that. So that is how you register the blueprints. Obviously, if you had more, you would register all of them. You can change the prefix according to what you have. But now I'm going to rerun the web server, so you can do that by just running this main.py file. I just did it in VS Code with a shortcut, but not important. And now, if I run this, notice that I get test. So I'm getting test because I went to the /root, so I just went to the homepage of my website. Now what happened was we hit this function right here, and we returned this HTML, which was test, and we showed that on the web page. So that is the most basic way to make a root. Now I'll show you how to make a few other roots, and we'll do it inside of auth.py. So inside of auth.py, we're going to define our login, logout, and our, what was the other one we need? Sign up. So we're going to say auth.root. We're going to say /login like that. And then we're going to define a function. Call it whatever you want, but I usually just call it the same thing as the root, so login. And then here, we'll just return some, let's go p tag, and this is going to say login like that. Now we'll define another root, so say auth.root. We're going to call this one /logout. We're going to say define logout, and then what are we going to return? Well, whatever we want, but I'll just return a p tag that says logout. Okay, and then lastly, we'll define our sign up. So auth.root and then /sign-up, and then define sign_up. And inside of here, we will return p tag that says sign up. All right, so there we go. We've now defined our 3 roots. So now if I rerun the server, you'll notice that the server will crash if you have syntax errors in here. So sometimes you do need to rerun it, even though you have debug equals true. And in fact, to show you, if I save this, notice how the server automatically reruns. That's what debug equals true does. But yeah, sometimes if you have syntax errors, you just have to restart the server manually. So now that we have this, if I refresh, test is working. I can now go to /sign. Did I do sign-up? Yep, sign-up. So that brings me there. I can go to login. We see we're at the login page, and I can go to logout, and we see we're at the logout page. So clearly our roots are working. That's the most basic. We're going to put what we call our HTML templates. So in Flask, allows you to write a little bit of Python. You have the base template as like the theme to ride that main content, which actually has the HTML for the body, things that you almost always have defined now. So we've loaded our style. Defining a block in any blocks that we've defined inside of this base template is going to load is the JavaScript related to what do you call it here? Bootstrap, the CSS frame. So Bootstrap has some like fancy animations and some just like cool button presses and stuff that use JavaScript. So what you need to do is load in these scripts. Again, just take that from the description from the code. So this we load at the bottom of our body tag. So make sure it's at the very bottom. All other HTML you're going to put above it. Now let's say somebody wanted to write your own JavaScript. First of all, what you would do if you want to integrate your own JavaScript into this, and I'll just cover this quickly because I know some of you will want to do this, is you will put a JavaScript file inside this static folder. So any assets like images or JavaScript files or CSS, things that are static that do not change, you put inside of the static folder. So again, images, JavaScript, or CSS files, you have to put inside of the static folder. Now, once you put them inside of the static folder, you can load them in your HTML by doing something like this. Load, which is index.js. It would load this file. So I put some buttons on our nav bar. So the first thing that I want is equal to, and we're going to put a pound sign. I think you just need to reload VS Code after you install it, and then when you save, it should automatically format the document for you, so that you don't have to deal with all the indentation and all that stuff. Okay, so now we have that. Let's define the navigation items in our navbar. So we're gonna make a div, and we're gonna say div class is equal to, and then collapse, and then navbar hyphen collapse. And we're gonna say the ID is equal to navbar. So what this is saying is that we're going to have a collapsible navbar, which I will show you once we actually build it, and then we'll define the items that we want in this collapsible navbar. So let's define another div inside of here. So I'm going to say div class equals, and then navbar hyphen nav. So this is the actual navigation items. We'll end the div, and then inside of here we'll define the items that we want. So I'm going to say a, which is just a link. I'm going to rerun it. And if we go and we refresh the page, well, we don't see anything for logout, and we don't see anything for slash, right? That's because, well, we've defined this HTML document, but we haven't actually used it. So now that we've defined this, we want to use this document. So this is a template. Remember, we defined this as a template. Look and see what I've messed up here, because
I think it's just gonna talk about the
inside of here, now I can add
simple
h1
stuff.
tag, and I can just say this is the home page. So now that I do this, you'll see as soon as I refresh here that we get this is the home
Not
page showing up
simple,
on the
but
home
initial stuff.
page. So now if I go to logout, notice that the template's not here because we still are just rendering the HTML for logout, but that's how this works. So that's how you deal with templates. I'm going to paste these in. So we'll start in variables or values right to all these templates, and then what that will do is we can actually use those values inside of the templates. So a Python expression inside show the user. Now I also could do something like user plus and then s. Now what this will do is it will interpret whatever the user variable is plus the string s, and it will display that. So now we get Tim's, right? So there's a limitation to what you can do inside of here. You can't do everything you would do in regular Python, but for the most part you can do like some basic expressions, display variables, and that's what makes this templating language really useful. So that is the basic for that. Now let's show one more thing with templates while we're at it. I want to pass a variable here, and we'll just call this boolean, and we'll make this equal to true. Now I'll show you how we can actually write an if statement inside of our template. So if we want to write an if statement, which we'll do here, let me just move the block down. To write an if statement, we do the % type of block, and then we say if, and then whatever variable we want to check or whatever expression we want to check. So in this case, I want to see if the boolean variable is equal to true. So if boolean is equal to true, then what I can do is underneath this block, I can write out what I want to do. I'll just say yes, it is true. And then to end my block, I can say end block like that. Or sorry, not end block, but end if. So this is how you write an if statement. You do the % kind of thing. You say if, whatever the expression is you want to check, then end the % thing, and then you write whatever inside of here you want to display if this is true, or whatever you want to do if this is true. And then you have the end if to signify, hey, I'm ending this if statement, because obviously we can't use indentation to do that. So now if I refresh, we'll see that yes, it is true. But if I change is boolean equal to false, so let's do that, you'll notice that when I run this, nothing shows up because that condition was not true. So that is how you write an if statement. If you want to do an if else, so if you say elif and then whatever the other condition is you want to check, then this works. And then if you didn't have else, you would just have the end if at the end. But the end if just goes at the very end of all the statements, and this works just like regular Python. So you have if, elif, else, or as many elifs as you want. Again, you don't need the elif templates. By having h3 tags. So let's say h3, let's say align
Here,
templates.
probably-
Let's now create our actual sign up template. So I want to actually make the form here, because if we design this, then we can start working on the back end, and we can actually, create the user accounts and work with databases and all that interesting stuff. So we need to build this form out. So first of all, we have our blocks defined. Now inside of our block content, we're just going to build an HTML form. So we're going to say form, we're going to say method equals post, which means when we submit this form, send a post request to the back end. You don't have to know what that means yet, but I will discuss post get and all of that. And anyways, inside of here, let's start by having h3 tag. So let's say h3, let's say align equals center. We want this to be in the middle of the screen, and let's end our h3 tag, and then let's say sign up. So now we have a header for our form that says sign up. Now I want to have a div. So I'm going to say div.
Can I use method post on a button? Maybe it's already on type. That doesn't work. Now let's change to button. It still doesn't work. I guess just for forms. Maybe it works if I put this on inside of a form.
The class of this is going to be equal to form-group. This is a bootstrap class that we can use. I'm going to end the div, and inside of this div, I'm going to start putting my fields. So I want an email address, a first name, a password, and a password too, so like your password confirmation. And that's what I want for my sign up form. So email, first name, 2 passwords. So let's start by defining a label. Let's say label. This is going to be for our email. You just would set this equal to the class that you're going to use for the input field, which you'll see in a second. Let's end our label, and let's call this one email.
What if I do on click here? And then I do the URL stuff. I think it's like this. URL for. Yeah. This is the structure. But then instead of doing for static, I would do app.py, maybe. I need to remember how I did it with the links. But I think, yeah, I'm gonna search after I watch a little bit of this video. I'm gonna search because I forgot how I did it with the links. But I think it's probably gonna work if I do the same thing here, but using onClick instead of href.
All right, now inside of here, I'm going to find input fields. I'm going to say input. I'm going to say type equals email. I'm going to say class equals and then form hyphen control. Again, this is another Bootstrap class. You can look up all these classes from the Bootstrap website. I'm going to say the ID equals email. I'm going to say the name equals email. Notice there's a lot of stuff to type here. And the placeholder is equal to enter email. Like that. Okay, and actually let's go lowercase e. Enter email. How many times did I spell it incorrectly? All right, so now we have our input field. Now, what you need to make sure you do here is you need to define a name. The reason you need to define a name as well as an ID, in fact, the ID is optional, but you should add it because then you have your label linking with your input field, which is what you want. But what the name will do for us is this is actually what the attribute is going to be called when we pass the information in this field to our backend. Now, that might be confusing, but when we submit this form, it's going to bundle up all of the information.
It's probably just the name. URL for. This. The thing is, I'm not sure if this is gonna run the function there, or it's gonna just redirect the URL. I'm not sure if the redirection of the URL invokes this function here. Control B to find the source of the function. Yeah, so maybe it works like that. Every time you access the URL, it runs the function anyway. Or when you run the function, it accesses the URL. It goes both ways, I think. Yeah, but then I'll have to take this off as well from here. I think that's what I'm gonna do for now. And do the same thing for the other one. But use the other name. Yeah, maybe this is gonna work actually. Hopefully. Oh, and then I have to change your button. Yeah, there we go. So endpoint equals options.pop, endpoint none. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend a bunch of time on this actually. Trying to figure out what's endpoint.
in here. And it's going to use all of the names
I'm
of
just gonna watch this section. Maybe it's actually better to watch this one. We can watch this one later, maybe.
Hello guys and welcome to the Hackinon's YouTube channel. In this video, we will learn how to run Python script by clicking an HTML button. Let's say you are not interested in knowing any web framework such as JavaScript, nor React, Angular, etc. But you just want to combine Python and basic HTML to your code or function that runs when clicking an HTML button. So you have come to the right place. We will show you how to do that in this video. So let me quickly demonstrate the working of this project that I've created.
Let me first see. Cannot build URL for endpoint script visualizer. Script viz instead. Oh. So maybe... Yeah, it's the name of the function. And then it's gonna activate this function. So I think this is gonna work actually. Then I just have to wait a little bit to change here. So I'm gonna watch the video while I'll wait there.
So it's a simple website that says enter your name. So let's say I enter my name, Carl Mascarenhas, and if I press submit, you get another page saying that, hello Carl Mascarenhas, how was your day? So the data is basically taken from this label, the input label, and is displayed as a tag. So we will see how to do that using the Flask web framework present in Python. Okay, so now, first things first, let's import the module that is Flask that we'll be using for this project. So I'll simply say pip install Flask, and if I press enter, it will say requirement already satisfied since I've got Flask already installed in my device. So let me close the command prompt, and then on the desktop, I'll just click right click and I'll go to new folder and I'll name it as Flask app. So I've opened the Flask app folder and currently it's empty. So let's add our files. So the first file will be app.py, which will have the Flask app and all its execution of the Python script. So let me create that and let me save it as app.py, and I'm saving it inside the Flask app. So first let me import Flask from Flask import Flask, that is the Flask class. And then let's create our app. So we will say app is equal to Flask. So basically we are calling the class and it's done the function name. So you do not need to worry about this. It simply says that we are initializing the app from the Flask class, and that route we will go hello this, and let me copy this and paste a function called as render template, which is also imported from the Flask module, and just spell it proper. And instead of writing the hello, just delete that out and just put in render template, the head tag, and then slash. Whenever you put in a data, you have to post it so that the output will be visible inside our Python code. So I'll create the method as post. And now let's create a center tag. And now I'll create a simple label. Type will be submit and the name will be name, and let's an ID of again name. And now let me just run the program right over again. Let me just reload this. So now the input field is coming. So and Python code. So it's really simple. Need to use a function called as request present in Flask. So let me just import that function called as request. So basically request will be output. And let's create a variable called as name. And now we can will be visible. So here in this HTML code, we need to put some section where we can display the data of the name. So what we'll do is I created the center opening closing tags. We will go inside that center tag. And now we will use.
Let me see if it works. So it shows the buttons, but it's not getting me anywhere. Get static home.css.js. What is the 304? So I think this is probably the incorrect path. It's going through static, home, and home.js, so it should be correct for this index HTML here. Also, it was 300 here. And then here's probably 3 or 4 because it's already cached or something like that. But now I just have to understand why this is not working. Maybe it's because I don't... But even if I don't have the page, it should be loading the... It should be routing to script visualizer. Oh, maybe if I put methods post, I don't think that's gonna change anything. But it's worth trying. In my mind, it makes sense that it would work if the link, uh, when using links, it works. It's weird that there is not a lot more videos or information about this, because it seems to be like it would be something very simple and frequent that people do. So maybe it's because I need to do this request dot methods equals post. But then I'm not really sure if it would work. I'll probably have to create a form on the HTML and put the buttons on a form or something like that. I think I might end up doing just with the links because it's a lot easier. I should have saved the stuff that I did with the links. Or maybe that way is not doing what I think it's doing, actually. Because it's just going to the URL, but it's not writing the script here. It's not going through the function. So I think the best way is probably actually to use the
something called as Jinja
whatever the guy does in this video to activate the functions there.
templates. So Jinja templates is basically a set of curly braces in which you can write Python-based executable code inside our HTML files. Okay. So to write Python-based code inside our HTML files, you need to make use of the Jinja template. So its syntax is really simple. You need to put the curly braces and then you need to put two percentage symbols, and between that percentage symbol, all your logic goes. So right now, I will say if name, which means if there is some data present inside the name file, I will create an h3 tag, and inside this, now I will go inside the h3 portion and I will create a simple style, and I will equate that style to a color of blue. You can choose whatever color you like based on your likings. And now I will create a text saying hello, and I will create name, and I will say how are you.
The other thing I can do is import the app file on the HTML and then run through this by doing app dot the whatever the name of the function is.
Okay, so now everything looks fine. So let's save this file and run this code right over again. And let me reload everything. Oh, there was an error. Okay, because we are posting some data inside the HTML file. So I'll put in comma inside the decorators and I will say methods, open the Python file and Python list and say post. And also let's add get. And let me run the file and let me check if everything is working fine. Yes, it's running perfect. So now if I click on Carl and I click on submit, there's really nothing happening because we have to give in the name data. We haven't put in any name data yet. Working good. Let's equal to name. And then basically we have taken, so for that I will go, we are getting an index.css. But before making use of this index.css, we need to make some changes inside the head file. So let's add the links to the CSS. So let me write over again, just go to the code that I created. And so let me copy it from here. Paste that, and now let's run the program again. So everything is running perfect. Let's go back to the server, reload, continue, and now we get an improved look since the CSS files were.
I think I'm gonna continue this another time. The 2 hours is over. And I might change my computer, the memory and stuff, and reinstall Windows. And if I do that today, then it's probably gonna, I'm not sure if it's gonna take me a long time to organize everything again. But next time, I'm probably gonna continue to do this until I have at least the 3 pages. I wanna have the pages and the, yeah, then I will see, actually. But what I need to do here is figure out how to connect this button to the app, to this routes here. Then after I do that, I'm gonna do the same thing. Actually, I'm gonna do it slightly different on the other pages. One of the pages, no, I think that both. Actually, I can create a template for the other pages because they're probably gonna be really similar. So my plan is on the script visualization is to put an input that allows the user to see all the scripts that exist on this file, the files, basically the folder that exists here. I want to see if that's possible. The graphs. And well, that's one option. The other option is also to allow the user to put their own scripts, but that's a lot more dangerous. So yeah, I'll think about that later. And then in the other one, I'm going to create an input that allows to select a folder. And then based on that selection, it runs the lib visualizer stuff, which is the one that contains, it should contain. Maybe it doesn't. Or maybe it's somewhere else. Yeah, it's somewhere in these folders here. It should be here though. I'm not sure why it's not showing. Yeah, but that's what I'm gonna do. So see you next time.